I got something for you. Hold on. All this time. This is my
exact. That's how you did it?
I did just like this. And I was in short pants. We were supposed to go swimming, and I just lost the whole swimming mode. I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And then I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Whoa. And then that was like.
The doubts start to troll in, and all hell starts to break loose. This frantic dad wants answers to the paternity puzzle that's been digging holes in his mind. Is he gonna get the answers he's looking for? Well, let's find out, shall we? It's about to be another bumpy ride of baby daddy drama.
Mr. Pickett, you claim that when your son turned 3, the defendant, your wife, admitted to you that you may not be his biological father. You have petitioned the court for a paternity test, seeking a definitive answer today with hopes that your son is biologically yours.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Pickett and Ms. Pickett sure do look like the cute couples we expect them to be, but hold up, there's more to see than meets the eye. These two have been caught up in so much baby drama. Guess what, people? They're even separated. Must have been one hell of a ride for these two.
Now let the court clarify, you two are separated right now. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Pickett, why are you so sure you are not Patrick's father?
I took an extended vacation, let's call it, right? And during that vacation, you know, we had separated.
Don't forget, these two have been separated for a while. Mr. Pickett takes a vacation for work purposes, at least so he claims. He gets back from his vacation and pays a visit to Ms. Pickett to check on their son. That's when things start to get a little tricky. Trust me, you aren't ready for the mystery that's about to unfold.
From the vacation, I go to like different houses that she's at, and periodically I see this same dude at the different house. So I'm like, okay, it's nothing. We're separated. Later on, she tells me she's pregnant. I'm like, okay. Now I seen this guy here, so I don't know if that's mine or not. So I asked my son, I said, who is that guy over there that be's at the house with your mom? And my son, he's like 5 years old.
Mr. Pickett, with the Mr. Innocent role, continues to explain his side of the story, and for some reason, it just doesn't make any sense. It's so confusing. Judge Lauren tells him to back it up. The things that popped out of his mouth were totally mind-blowing.
Wait, no, I don't feel you. Back it up.
I'm gonna back it up.
Say it again.
Her friend was dating my friend. He told me that the other guy that was there was for Shanae. So
it was one of those type things.
It was one of those type of things. Now this extended vacation is over. I'm back again. I'm playing daddy. I have no problem with playing daddy. I love my kids. That's why I'm here today. I love these little guys.
After being apart for God knows how long, they decide to give it another try and get back together. Yep, we all know where that's leading. Of course, things seem to be okay at first, but soon after, it all turns into wildfire. Things spiral out of control, and trust me when I tell you, it's worse than you can imagine.
Okay, so everything's good. We're back together. Now, in the back of my mind, I wish I could blow this little thought out.
So you're back together?
We back. It's cool. Swimming pools on the side of the house, everything's good.
Okay.
So I ask her, she denies. I ask her, she denies.
What do you ask her?
I'm asking her, is these my kids? Is this my son? Have you been cheating? You know, I love you. I quit cheating. And you can ask the girls, they be like, man, I'm going home.
The little mysteries start to find their way out of the little corners, and things start to take an unexpected turn. Mr. Pickett finds out that his wife was getting intimate with another guy just before his kid was born. Oops! Things are about to get real juicy, guys. I can bet on it.
Does he have reason to have doubt?
Just based on what I told him, yes, he does have a reason, but I did wait 3 years later to tell him, but I let him know, you know, I stepped out and did something I shouldn't have done before he got back from
the extended vacation, Your Honor.
It happened
I apologize
3
for
weeks
interrupting.
before.
3 weeks before, Your Honor.
This guy had to be the most dramatic man to ever walk the planet Earth. At every single junction of his narration, there was always a hilarious reaction from him. Even Judge Lauren couldn't hide her amusement. Now hold up. All that laughter was about to turn into a real hot mess.
She admitted to you she made a mistake.
When she admitted it, I said, this is the first thing I said, Your Honor. I said, through all this time, this is my
exact. That's how you did it?
I did just like this. And I was in short pants. We were supposed to go swimming, and I just lost the whole swimming mode. I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And then I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Whoa. And then that was like, I walked outside.
Mr. Pickett, did you do that?
I did all of that.
Now Ms. Pickett wasn't having her best day in court, trust me. You could read it off her face that she couldn't wait for the ground to open up and just swallow her. But come on, she cheated. I mean, it's only right that she felt that way. But is Mr. Pickett in a forgiving mood? I strongly doubt that.
I can tell you do. Now, Miss Pickett, how does it make you feel to to hear your husband speak this way about Patrick and yet have to deal with the fact that there's some doubt?
It hurts me because I am an honest woman. Even though it took so long to let him know what happened, I still told him, and I didn't let this thing happen for so long. It only happened one time.
Well, the suspense is finally over, and the hassle of who the dad of their child is about to be revealed. It's been a bumpy and funny ride with Mr. Pickett and Ms. Pickett. All eyes on the judge as she unleashes the truth. Get ready, paternity folks.
Mr. Pickett, you are his father.
Oh, yeah. Look, I got something for you. Hold on.
Now you were about to get tackled by Jerome.
I seen it.
You
Don't
better
beat me
let
up. Don't
somebody
beat me
know
up.
you need to do a flip.
You look good.
I will say that's a first. We have
Hold on, do
officially
you
now
have the
had a
rest of them?
father flip.
Right up.
Looking at this couple, you could tell they just weren't meant for each other. Mrs. Johnson dragged Mr. Johnson to court on the matter of him not being a good dad. Was Mr. Johnson having any of it? Hell no. Let's get this parenting drama on the road, shall we?
Mrs. Johnson, you are here today on the verge of divorce because you claim your husband of 7 years is forcing you to choose him over your 12-year-old son, Elijah. You state that you have separated multiple times over the past 5 years of your marriage. You have petitioned the court to order Mr. Johnson into family counseling because you say if he will not agree, you plan to divorce him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. and Mrs. Johnson have been at each other's throats for quite some time now. Having been married for up to 7 years, their marriage has crash-landed from a state of bad to worse. And the shocking thing here, it's all because of their 12-year-old kid. Trust me, it's crazy.
Now, Mrs. Johnson, let me start with you. How does Mr. Johnson treat your kid?
He shows blatant favoritism. I'm angry. I just want my kids to feel equal. I want my oldest son
When you
to
say he
feel
shows
loved.
favoritism, explain to the court how.
Okay, for an example, I put my kids in baseball. He would participate in our son Ethan's, and he would never participate in Elijah's.
Mrs. Johnson went on and on about how Mr. Johnson wasn't threatening both of their kids. In her words, he had a favorite one. You can bet Mr. Johnson wasn't just going to let her run her mouth. He comes in like a blazing inferno, telling her she's to be blamed. It's like a war zone in the courtroom.
Now,
That's where it was at.
Give me more specific stories of how you feel he treats the children differently.
We went on a trip to Gatlinburg. It was just the 4 of us, and we had a great trip. And then it all just kind of dwindled down. My son, we took like a safari ride, and he said, oh, well, me and Ethan will ride on this one, and you and Elijah can ride on that.
As they kept trawling each other in the courtroom like it was another WWE wrestling match, mind-blowing revelations started to pop out. Believe me, these revelations will leave your jaws dropping from your mouth.
It was years ago.
Mr. Johnson, but do you show favoritism? Do you?
No, I
To
don't.
your
Yes, he
biological
does.
child?
I don't
He
show
does. He will
favoritism,
go
no.
in our son's room that we have together, and he will go
He's
in
my
there and play
son.
video
I'm not gonna
games
be
with them. At one
disrespected
point in
and then
time,
deal with it.
I
Why
would
not
go to
discipline
work,
children?
and I would work nights, and they would have like movie night and all this other fun
And
stuff.
you would lay out
and then
rules
it
for him to do,
then
and
it
he
put
never
a-
does them.
He put it to a stop.
After Mrs. Johnson was done throwing shades at her husband in the courtroom, it was Mr. Johnson's turn to spill the beans. And my God, did he have a lot to say about Mrs. Johnson and their 12-year-old boy. It was like a love series that was unending.
Okay, and when me and him were left alone with me, him, and my other son, and they're fighting for about 2 hours straight, non-stop. She comes home, I tell her what happened, I tell her that they're not listening, and instead of disciplining the kids, she fights with me.
He's the one acting like he's 12 too.
I'm trying to teach him to be a man. I'm trying to teach this boy to be a man.
How
Always reward him.
specifically are you trying to teach him to be a man?
If he's 12 years old, can he pick up after himself? Can he listen to his mom? Can he respect his
So
elders?
learning how to do chores, clean up after himself.
Respect.
The rants go on, and Mr. Johnson keeps pouring out his mind like a wounded lion. Does it end there? Of course not. Mrs. Johnson, filled with rage, jumps into the ring again and starts throwing shots at her husband. She even calls him a kid! These two can't wait to rip each other apart in the courtroom.
Yeah, but you gotta
you think
give
he respects
respect.
his
I
mother?
did give respect for many, many years. I get told, oh, you don't go to his baseball games. He hates me
So now you two are separated because of this.
right
Yep.
now.
I mean, I love Jason with all my heart. I do. And I would love for, you know, us to work and to be a happy family.
Mrs. Johnson's dad walks up to the stage and drops bombs on bombs, countering every single word Mr. Johnson said. It was almost like her dad was her husband's biggest OPP. Man just stood there, throwing heavy blows at Mr. Johnson. It was a tug of war and nobody wanted to be beaten.
Please talk to the court about what you've witnessed and what your understanding is in terms of the favoritism or Elijah's disrespect, as Mr. Johnson has put it, to him and all people.
Everybody.
I see Elijah being left out on a lot of things.
Left out of what?
Father, son, ice cream. You ask Ethan to pick up your room. It's like, would you pick up your room? What's wrong with you? Why don't?
So why aren't we here for the way you talk to Ethan?
You know, talk to him.
Knowing Mr. Johnson, you could bet he was ready for his comeback. As soon as Mrs. Johnson's dad was done talking, boom! He came with his comebacks that hit like bullets shot by a firing squad.
Doesn't that go
You're
for
his
both?
grandfather.
Doesn't
Yes.
that go for both kids though? Wouldn't that go for both children, not just Elijah? Like what Ethan, my son, he does the same thing. He babies Elijah. Oh, it'll be okay.
shouldn't yell at Ethan
oh, it'll
either
be
like
okay.
that.
You yell at. Your daughter will admit
So
it.
now you're saying that Mr. Amolch yells at.
He's way more aggressive with Ethan than he is with Elijah. With Elijah, it's okay.
Moment of truth was finally here, but the air was thick with uncertainty as to whether their marriage was going to be saved or shattered for good. Time to see what the future holds for them. I hope you guys are ready.
Countersued and petition this court to order that Ms. Johnson go to anger management. Earlier in your testimony, Ms. Johnson, I remember distinctly hearing you say, I do need anger management because I'm mad all day.
I am.
You remember that?
And I feel like I'm gonna explode and I need to figure some other coping skills.
Apparently, this wasn't his first rodeo in court. Mr. Scott had been in court to previously question another woman. And now, guess what? He's here to do the same thing again. He just doesn't give up. I hope you guys are ready for a paternity bombshell. It's time to ask who the daddy really is.
Mr. Scott, welcome back.
How you doing?
Now, you previously appeared in this court and it was determined that you now have 7 children by 4 women.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're here today denying you fathered the defendant, Ms. Kalan's 4-month-old daughter,
Yes, Your
Ezra,
Honor.
and today's paternity results will clear your name.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now Mr. Scott and Ms. Kalon's relationship kicked off like a bad Tinder date. Trust me, it wasn't the regular Fiona and Prince Charming kind of love story. They met online and things got pretty cozy. It was almost like they were inseparable. But nothing good ever really lasts, right? In no time, things went out of proportion, like there was no lobe at all.
We met online. We chatted for about 3 weeks. I'll say 3 weeks to a
3
month, something like that, you know. So she came to visit me. She came to my city. She came to visit me. You know, we hung out. We spent time. Had a nice time that night. No big deal, you know. It was nice. It was nice. She went to sleep. I happened to go through her phone. I went through her phone.
On the first night, you guys had a date?
Yeah, well, you know, the reason why I went through your phone, the reason why I went through your phone.
As Miss Kalon starts to drop the subtle bombs, hidden truths about Mr. Scott start to surface, and they don't smell nice one bit. Scott's accusations lead to doubts, and the court becomes a stage for hurt feelings, trust issues, and a dash of online espionage. The drama unfolds as they question the foundation of their relationship. Trust me, the courtroom is insane.
About that, I was
Go
divorced.
ahead and continue.
So I went through her phone, and prior to us being together, conversating and conversing, I see that she had other text messages from other men.
But you weren't in a committed relationship, right?
Yeah.
No, not at that time. No, well, at the time of upon of her arrival.
No, see, that's
Upon
why
her
he's
arrival?
stuttering
Women, you
because
don't
it's
even
lies.
know. Who am I married
upon
to?
her
Who am I
arrival,
committed
upon her
to?
arrival, we was together.
Mr. Scott didn't come to fool around. He had all his facts lined up, like he intended to send Ms. Kalon to jail. Now things go sideways and Ms. Kalon paints him as one hell of a lair. The hidden cracks in their relationship start to show themselves, and things are no longer looking pretty.
What do you have to say about his accusations?
He is a lie. I think he believes his own lie, for real. I mean, this is like crazy. I don't know where
how
he's
did
getting
it
all
go
this.
down for you?
Okay, so I met him on the internet site, a dating site. I didn't pursue him, he pursued me. Okay, let's get that straight.
Yeah, I did get at her. She was a nice
And-
white.
okay.
I mean, she was pretty, man.
And-
A thick white girl. She was pretty.
Okay.
She was
Mr.
pretty.
Scott!
She was pretty.
The whole courtroom was heated up like it was inside a pot of boiling soup. And guess what? It was all about to get even worse. It seems these guys had issues with each other for not picking up the phone when the other called. Everything started to fall apart, and the question on everyone's mind was, what's going on here? Who's telling the truth?
That person, as well as
this person and that person.
Yes.
Girls, only
That's
two girls.
sad.
Don't be adding other people.
That's crazy.
Don't add other people.
I mean, you got
And
like,
you're telling me that you're the person with the trust issues.
I'm a very smart man, you know what I mean? I look for signs, not seeing the sign.
Mr. Scott, playing the role of the smart man, delved into the evidence he found in Ms. Kalon's phone. By the looks of it, a few questionable pictures were enough for him to doubt the woman big time.
There was
we got
pictures
that.
of other men's male parts, okay?
For real?
Pictures of other male parts, and it was another, she was like, well, I'm finna go to Lancaster to visit a friend, a family
And she
member.
did it like that?
pictures
No,
of
that-
male,
and the-
other people's male
The guy
parts, are you
responds
serious?
like, I mean, the guy
My
says,
kids
well,
would play with my phone, Your Honor. There was nothing like that in my phone.
but it was pictures of you all in lingerie and all this stuff
Lingerie?
inside your phone, though,
You got
right?
those too?
As things kept getting intense, Ms. Kalon dropped a bomb claiming she was never in love with the man. Wait, what? Now I didn't see that coming. They did start out all mushy-mushy, but I guess not all love stories end with a happy ending, and this just proves that theory.
Were you in love with
I wouldn't
Mr.
say it was
Scott?
love. On the internet site that I met him on, he wanted basically the same things I was looking for, you know? He
Yes,
was
of course.
family, he said he was family oriented.
Of course I am. I take care of all my kids, but how am I gonna have a family with a girl that's already texting other dudes?
Well, Mr. Scott seemed to be thrilled by the news first, or so the baby mama says. Dreams of a happy family were shared and everything. However, it all went down the drain when the baby came into the world. All hell breaks loose then.
He was happy. He said,
yeah,
quote unquote, oh, mommy, we're gonna be a family. See, yeah, that was the nickname.
And did you want to be a family with him?
I mean, it was what it was. I wasn't sure if that's what I
What
wanted.
was
He
it?
wanted me to move to.
Wait, you said it was what it was. What
I
was
mean,
it?
I just met him not long before that.
said,
You know,
I'm
I
up
was
in the moon
kind
on
of like
Sacramento,
blurry
man.
about it
That
myself.
weird
You know,
city.
who does that? Who gets pregnant the first time they go?
The courtroom was engulfed with so much anticipation and expectation. These couples seemed to be quite good at fighting with themselves rather than being good parents. The judge, sensing potential future drama, wrapped up the case and went straight for the results.
Mr. Scott, you are not the father.
I apologize. I could be woman enough to apologize and keep it moving.
I guess my assumptions was right. Do the best
That's
you
good.
can to find that
I'm-
baby's father. She
Oh, I
deserves a
think
father.
you're stuttering now. Something has finally made
She don't
him
need a father.
speechless.
No one was prepared for the catastrophe that was about to unfold in the courtroom. This ain't the regular baby daddy or baby mama drama, so I hope you guys are ready for some intense blowbacks. It's about to be a showdown of truth and denial. Are you strapped into your seats? Let's dig in!
Mr. Harrington, you claim you are not the father of Miss Day's 1-month-old daughter, Nalani Day, and want her to stop pinning her baby on you. You say your sexual relationship with the defendant ended before she got pregnant. Ms. Day, you say you would never attempt to pin a baby on a man without being sure he is the father.
Mr. Harrington was not ready to buy the idea of Ms. Harrington pinning a baby on him. Yup, you heard that right. She's trying to pin a baby on him. So Mr. Harrington dropped some heavy truth bombs, accusing Miss Day of the party peep, jumping from one guy to the next. Now those are some serious allegations, Mr. Harrington.
If
What do you do?
he is not the father of my child, I am the Virgin Mary. There's no other possibilities. I have not been messing around with anybody else
The Virgin
throughout
Mary.
the time that we were messing around.
Well, you
So you are 100% positive Mr. Harrington
That
is
is-
your child's biological
ma'am.
father?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Ms. Day was living her best life when, boom, she found out she was pregnant after having an MRI appointment. Trust me, she was in no way prepared, but was she excited about it? Of course she was! But the excitement soon starts to fade as Mr. Harrington starts to list several reasons as to why he can't be the baby daddy.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I went to go and take an MRI. I was doing a brain study, went to go and take an MRI. When I went to go take the MRI, before you take it, they have to give you a pregnancy test because it can affect your pregnancy or whatever. So when I went to go and take the pregnancy test, they came back and they told me that I was pregnant.
Now, Mr. Harrington had no idea she was pregnant. He found out when he went through her phone and saw some really funny text messages. Oh, trust me, the level of denial that hit him was unbelievable. He was like, she's pregnant? Definitely can't be mine.
That's how I found out. Then I asked my sister, I called her, whatever. I was like, so I heard you was hiding the pregnancy. She was like, Kayla didn't want me to tell you, and she was also saying that you the daddy. And I'm like, how? When she ain't talking to me. So I tried to call her. She not answering the phone.
He's trying to flip it around. I
How
don't answer
flip
his
what?
call on a daily. daily on a regular basis. I don't answer the
she
call.
do ignore my calls.
So,
that's why she be trying to hide my child from me too. Like, come on.
As Ms. Day tried to defend herself, her stories weren't just adding up, and the judge for sure wasn't buying any of it. Something was definitely not right. You could tell she had so many secrets she wasn't ready to reveal. But don't worry, they all started to pop out one by one. It was a meltdown for her.
I probably told his sister before I told him, but even if it was something that I did not tell him, it was only a week, probably like a week span of time.
Yeah, you sound right.
And how do I sound?
Like
somebody telling the truth,
like you're trying to, like what you do all the time. You try to work around a lot. You're working around a lot right now.
The message.
Mr. Harrington had almost zero trust left in him, but he still showed up at the hospital. The defendant walks in and there's a whole new picture to the story in play. Apparently there was more to the story, and trust me, it was mind-blowing.
You showed up for the birth as the daddy?
No,
Yes,
I didn't even sign a birth certificate. How?
You didn't sign a birth certificate, but you wanted to give her your last name?
If it's mine.
How?
If it's mine. I said, if you're sure that it's my child, give her my last name.
No, you did not.
I did
You
say
said,
that.
are you going to give her my last name?
And so hold on, let's get some order. So Miss Day, I want to understand this. You believe he accepted the baby at the hospital?
He did.
Moving on, the baby daddy comes up with an interesting chauffeur analogy to describe his fun times with Miss Day. But that's not just it. He came prepared with an exhibit. Buckle up, it was confusion conception time.
You're denying this baby because you have a new girlfriend.
What you mean?
What is your doubt?
I wasn't even finishing her, you know. I wasn't finishing. We was doing, you know, I was like a chauffeur. I was in and out, you know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why.
You didn't complete the sexual act, so you don't feel like you could have impregnated her.
And I'm gonna tell you, because the conception date.
So you're saying her conception date is wrong?
It isn't right because I went to only one of her.
Well, that was one heck of a calendar and its calculations. People certainly did their homework, and it was making sense. Mommy didn't vibe with that, so she laid into him.
Because you said you all were still being intimate in October. That's when Mr. Harrington even admitted that that was during the time when he was still completing the sexual act.
No, I wasn't completing it in October.
You wasn't?
I wasn't.
You wasn't?
I wasn't.
You wasn't. Are you serious?
I know
No, you obviously don't.
Mr. Harrington, you can step back over to the
I know
podium.
what I was doing.
Now that all made this last part all the more interesting. Won't you guys agree? Well, results were in, and Judge Lael seemed about ready to deliver her final verdict on the mess these guys created. Let's find out who was the daddy.
Mr. Harrington, you are not the father.
What?
Told you,
Are
bro.
you serious?
Told you. Can I Millie Rock?
No, you can't.
Sorry, my bad.
No, you can't. You know why?
This ain't
Because
mine.
you have another child with her, so you're not gonna clown in here.
Okay.
Because that's acting a fool, and that's what I don't do.
But I told her.
You need to Millie Rock yourself to the drugstore and get some condoms.
This case will leave you speechless. Ms. McKinney had one goal only, to prove Mr. Davis was her biological dad, and stakes were through the roof for her. But hold on to your DNA kits just yet, because this case was just getting started.
Ms. McKinney, you are here to prove to the defendant, Mr. Davis, that he is your biological father. You say after your mother's tragic death and 2 recent medical scares of your own, today's results have become more important than ever. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's rewind a bit, shall we? Ms. McKinney and Mr. Davis shared a romance more confusing than a Christopher Nolan film. They had a marriage, though it seemed more like a cameo appearance than true love.
Got diagnosed in 2015 with ovarian cancer. I felt the need that I need to find out who my children's grandparents are. So if I passed away, I just want them to have a family that loves them.
I understand. How long have you believed this was your dad?
Well, my mother told me that her ex-husband was Michael Davis.
Moving on, the alleged baby daddy shared his wedding adventure. These guys got married, and then there was a sudden exit. Oh yeah, Mr. Davis got a surprise of a lifetime on his wedding day.
Mr. Davis, you were married to Ms. McKinney's mother how long?
1 day. Well, I was with her for 1 day.
What?
Yes.
Y'all lived together.
You were married for 1 day.
But they lived
together.
together.
Tell the court what happened. What are you saying?
What I'm saying is, the day we got married, I took off and we got married and I had to go back to work. And so once I finished my shift off and I went back home.
So, their relationship didn't survive the storm. Moving on to the time the plaintiff got to know about her father, it appears that fate played its role and she got to meet him. However, the rainbows and sunshine soon faded after a couple of years.
I was 18. I was dating a young man, and one night he asked me, we were talking about family. He was like, let me see your birth certificate. I let him see mine. And he looked at me and was like, I know your mama and your dad. I was like, oh, I don't know my father. I never met him. He was like, you want to meet your dad? And I was like, yes.
Next up, Ms. McKinney shared a couple of pictures that were just her desperate attempt at finding some resemblance with the family. While the poor girl didn't have a father on her side, she had a grandmother.
At that time, I looked at his mom and his daughter, felt like I looked just like them. I felt like I met my dad, like everything erased.
Submitted the pictures to the court. Tell the court who's in these pictures. I see you,
Yes.
and that's Mr. Davis's other daughter. And when you saw that picture, you felt like I look just like her.
Moving on, we get to know that the defendant believed it was the people that put this in the plaintiff's head, and he never once accepted he was the real deal. On the other hand, he believed someone else to be the father of this girl.
Also believe, or were you ever told that the other man could also be your biological father?
No, I put that in my head. Roger never told me that. It's always been Michael Anthony Davis is your father from everybody, even other men that's supposed to be the father. They always said Michael Anthony Davis is your father.
Enter Mr. Williams, the guy who had been present throughout the life of the plaintiff, and he had some startling testimony to share. But he wasn't the only witness in this case. Mr. Davis brought along his wife as well. Things were heating up.
I was been there ever since she was born. I was there in the delivery room with her mother.
Did you believe you were her biological father? What did her mom tell you about her pregnancy?
Well, after we'd been together, and then maybe about 6 months into the relationship, she told me she was pregnant.
With all this family drama that has been going on for years, one thing was sure, that Ms. McKinney deserved to know her real father, and Lauren Lake had that answer for him. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. Here goes nothing.
Mr. Williams, you are not her father. The next result reads as follows. Mr. Davis, you are not the father.